Hello, my friends. Happy December 8th. And John Lee Dumas here, welcoming you to Master MicroStrategy, where we are mastering the genius that is Michael Saylor, that is MicroStrategy, 7 days a week, my friends. And man, I love Sundays because it is a great week coming. We have a lot of cool things coming up. I'm going to be getting into some pretty special things in this episode, some videos, by the way, that you are not going to want to miss. I mean, I do all this work for you. I do all the hours of compiling the good stuff, discarding the fluff and the crap so that you can just press play on this video and get the best that is MicroStrategy today, the best that is Michael Saylor today. And I'm going to do that for you every single day, 7 days a week. I'll be releasing an episode on Christmas. You don't have to watch on Christmas, but it will be released on Christmas. So if you want this kind of daily awesomeness where I'm doing all the work for you, subscribe to this show. I would really appreciate it. But remember, this is not financial advice. Do your own research. I'm not a financial advisor. I would recommend consulting a financial advisor before making any financial decisions. And let's dive in because, hey, it's Sunday, so the stock price is still $395. I'm looking forward to seeing what this week will bring for reasons we'll be talking about. The S&P 500 ranking is 108 of 500. Bitcoin price is right under 100,000 right now, 99.7. The Bitcoin balance is 402,100, so 402,100. Looking forward to adding to that this week. Who knows? I think so. We have the Bitcoin value per basic share. It just keeps going up, my friends. It just keeps going up. This is how much Bitcoin value you have per share that you own, $171.26. I remember when it was back at $130, $140. It just keeps going up. The NAV premium is 2.3. Very healthy NAV premium, has a good way to go up, and potentially down a little bit, but I think up is a direction we'll be seeing it trend in the near term future. The unrealized profit loss is 16 billion for a 71% profit. Good for you. Good for you. And of course, we're going to talk about the Catalyst tracker. Only 2 days until the Microsoft vote for MicroStrategy, not for MicroStrategy specifically, but for Michael Saylor's pitch to Microsoft about putting Bitcoin on their reserve assets, on their balance sheets. Is Microsoft going to become a Bitcoin holder in a big way? Or are they going to continue to just have all of that money they have sitting there in bonds and cash just melt away like an ice cube on a warm Caribbean day? Who knows? 2 days. The QQQ inclusion announcement is just in 5 days. That's going to be a lot of fun. Then we can look forward to the reconstitution in 12 days, which is going to be, again, if MicroStrategy, which we expect is going to be included, it'll be a ton of inflows. We're talking about upwards of $1 million or more a day of buying pressure into MicroStrategy. Of course, that number is going to fluctuate, but those are some numbers that I've seen. Around 1 to 2 billion is going to immediately be just flushed right into MicroStrategy, just going to be dumped into MicroStrategy. So we'll see what that does. So a lot of good catalysts happening. Of course, this next year has a lot of fun stuff. And you can see I will leave this link, this article in the show notes page so you can check it out in detail if you want. But I'll be reporting on this every day for you. I had to share this because this is just an absolute must-consume article if you really want to dive deeper into MicroStrategy. I mean, this individual, Marty, goes so deep. I can't really go into this article here because there's just so much content, but I will leave the link in the show notes below. But he just goes through so much amazing stuff. You will leave this article so much more knowledgeable about MicroStrategy, about what it's doing, about what it's done, about what its future plans are, about its potential. There's just so much awesome stuff in here. It's a huge article. Again, I don't want to do it injustice by just kind of skimming over it right now. So I'll put the link in the show notes for you to consume at your leisure, because I do want to address something right now. My comments have been on fire. I have almost 100 comments in my last video, coming up on 7,000 views of the last video. And that was released yesterday. So obviously there's so many people like yourself that are interested in this topic about MicroStrategy, that are becoming passionate about Bitcoin, passionate about MicroStrategy. They are a believer in Michael Saylor. You're watching this video, you're consuming this content, and a lot of you, I can see in the comments, are frustrated because of one main reason. Why has Bitcoin been going up a little bit? And of course, it did come back down. But why, when Bitcoin did go up a lot to like 103, 104, why did MicroStrategy not really do its part and follow in step? Well, the reality is this. Bitcoin is a long-term play, in my opinion. MicroStrategy, in my opinion, is a long-term play. Michael Saylor knows exactly what he is doing. He is so excited for the future. He is so excited for the present. He knows that every Bitcoin he can buy at these levels is an absolute steal, is an absolute deal. I truly believe that. He truly believes that. So what is he doing? He is going ahead and he is doing ATM. What does ATM stand for? At the market. What does at the market mean? He is selling shares into the market. And what is that doing? When that happens, when you sell shares into the market, oftentimes the price is going to go down a little bit because it's all about supply and demand. When there's very little people selling and people want to buy, the price goes up. When there's more people selling and not as many people buying, the price goes down. It's supply and demand. So when Michael Saylor is just selling all of these shares, thousands and tens of thousands and millions of shares into the market, into MicroStrategy, it's not going to allow the stock to act typically normally. But what is it doing? It's allowing Michael Saylor right now to get an amazing cash pile, which he knows is trash. Cash is trash. And then he's turning it immediately into Bitcoin. He's taking the trash pile of cash that he's getting from selling shares, and he's turning it into Bitcoin, and he's adding it to the Bitcoin balance that he has, and he's improving your yield. The yield is up over 60%. The Bitcoin yield for your shares, for my shares, is up over 60% this year, and it just keeps going higher. As I shared in the last screen, it was $171 per share. It was like $130 earlier. That is a massive increase, and that's only speeding up. It's only picking up because he's buying more Bitcoin with the trash cash that he's getting from selling at the market. He's not going to be doing this forever. In fact, this is the title of the article of the show today, is he's probably going to have to go into a blackout period pretty soon. Now, nobody really knows the details. It's all a little hazy, but there's been a lot of talk online that if you're going to get included into the QQQ, you're going to have to undergo a blackout period where you can't sell shares at the market for a certain amount of time. When that happens, a lot of people expect, myself included, that MicroStrategy is going to really run. We'll see. Who knows? Nobody knows. But that could be a really interesting thing. So is MicroStrategy going to be in a blackout period? Is Michael Saylor going to be in a blackout period? I think it's very possible with the QQQ inclusion. I don't know for sure, but we will see. That's part of the fun of this game. Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy and his team are playing an amazing game right now. And it's game theory is a better way of putting it, because they understand the game. They're not gambling, in their opinion, or in my opinion. They are betting on the winner. Bitcoin is the winner. So you buy more Bitcoin at these prices. So you sell your shares, buy more Bitcoin. It's not dilutive to us shareholders. It is accretive to us shareholders. I'll do a whole separate video on this at some point, but this is not meant to be a long topic for just a daily news video about MicroStrategy. But listen, it's important to know that what Michael Saylor is doing is accretive to us and is going to benefit the shareholders long term. I believe it. He believes it. He is working for you, the shareholders. That is what Michael Saylor is doing. Watch the Q3 earnings report. He was so genuine. He was so honest that he's so thankful for all of you shareholders, me, the shareholders, because guess what? He knows that we're the reason that MicroStrategy is going to succeed in the future. So allowing him to do all these things and acquire as much Bitcoin as he's acquiring and become the Bitcoin treasury company of the world, Bitcoin Treasury Corporation of the world, Bitcoin for the win. Perfect preservation of capital. Bitcoin, MicroStrategy knows exactly what they're doing to it, making an entire market for everybody else, the bond markets, the convertible debt markets, fill in the blank. It is just getting started. Okay, we need to move on because, man, there's a lot of stuff to talk about here today. I'm going to zip through this, but this is just another example of, look at this. I mean, this is just FUD of the media. And guess what? Don't hate the FUD, because the FUD is allowing you and me to continue to buy MicroStrategies at this unbelievably low levels, because this fake FUD. And if you read this article, I don't recommend it. It's just really copying the previous article with a bunch of mumbo jumbo words. They basically just say at the end of the day, the only way that MicroStrategy fails is if Bitcoin fails. That's kind of what they say. So it's just an attention-grabbing headline. And guess what? Unfortunately, it worked. I mean, I'm talking about it right now, but that's what the media does, and I wanted to share that with you. MicroStrategy MicroStrategy's Saylor urges U.S. to ditch gold and buy Bitcoin. I mean, Michael Saylor's out there working for you. He is working for me. He is making sure the world knows what the perfect preservation of capital is, what the future is. That is Bitcoin. He talks about it here. It's amazing. I did want to share this as well. This is just a Business Insider, a very respected company, is giving some decent news. They give some bad news, they give some good news. They all do, but Business Insider has a big readership, has a big reach, and they talk today about selling $1 bills for $3 bills. Why bond buyers and equity investors can't get enough of Bitcoin obsessed MicroStrategy. The word is getting out. People at first were like, I don't get it. What does he mean selling $1 bills for $3 bills? Now the word is getting out. The bond buyers understand it. They can't get enough. Every single issuance is oversubscribed by a ton. It's unbelievable. Here's Michael Saylor turned a decades-old software firm into a Bitcoin behemoth. They more than doubled the returns of Bitcoin and even NVIDIA. Here's why both equity and bond investors are obsessed with Saylor stock. And they talk about it down here. And again, I'll link this article up if you want to go into detail. But, they talk about accretive dilution, which I was just talking about. You have to understand, I get people are frustrated that Michael Saylor is doing ATM, is hitting the ATM card so hard, is selling shares at the market so hard. I understand that people are frustrated. I see it in my comments. I get it. I obviously would like to see MicroStrategy's price go higher, but I get it. I get what he's doing. I'm patient. I'm happy. I'm thrilled for the next decade plus of what MicroStrategy is bringing to the world. A brilliant loophole or bound to blow up. And of course, they come to the conclusion it's a brilliant loophole because it is. Wow, such exciting things here. Drop in the comments if you're frustrated about the ATM, but also let me know, are you kind of maybe starting to understand what Michael Saylor is doing by just trying to buy as much Bitcoin now at these absolute bargain levels as possible so that when Bitcoin goes to 150, 200, 500, he has such an amazing hoard of Bitcoin that all of us MicroStrategy shareholders are going to benefit exponentially. Of course, I had to share a tweet by Jeff, Punter Jeff. This guy's amazing. He talks about how Sherwin-Williams has a market cap higher than MicroStrategy. Listen how crazy this is. They have a price to book ratio, NAV multiple of 23. They have 23 billion in total assets, 20 billion in total liabilities. Their price to earnings ratio is 41. Their revenue is 23 billion. Their net income is 2.4 billion. Their Bitcoin held is 0. Their cash out is 277 million. MicroStrategy earns a net income of 2.4 billion, the same as Sherwin-Williams, for every $6,000 increase in the price of Bitcoin. And that's assuming that 0 additional Bitcoin is acquired, and MicroStrategy is acquiring additional Bitcoin all the time. We are going so much effing higher. The 1x MNAV bears have no conceptualization of how overvalued the rest of the equity market is in Bitcoin terms. And oh my God, if this doesn't make you excited and just realize, wow, how much higher are we going once which FASB comes out, fair accounting value, all the things that are coming in 2025. Love this stuff. I wanted just to share this. I'm not going to play the video, but just so many people are not understanding this yet. And that's okay, because it's allowing you and me to just dominate and to get in and to stack even more at these levels. Matt says, phew, I thought everyone was piling into this trade. Look at the comments in this post. They're calling Saylor an idiot. We are going so much higher. We are, because so few people get it. So congratulations to you. Please take a second right now. I mean it. Pat yourself on the back. You honestly deserve it, because you're watching this video. If you have 0 MicroStrategy shares, you deserve a pat on the back, because you're watching this video, you're educating yourself, you're learning. If you have 1 share, pat yourself on the back. If you have 100 shares, pat yourself on the back, because you are doing the work and you are going to be rewarded, in my opinion. I believe that, and I am proud of you. I am really proud of you, and I'm excited for you. Okay, let's talk about this post or this tweet from Adrian. He says, MSTR, MicroStrategy, it's the volatility, stupid. And then he goes into talking about how people just don't realize and understand the importance of volatility. It's not great if MicroStrategy goes up 1 or 2% every day for the rest of our life. I mean, of course, it's great for us shareholders, but it's not feasible. No stock does that in the world. The best stocks and the best companies in this world, with what MicroStrategy is doing with his strategy, they have volatility. They need to have volatility to the upside, volatility to the downside. That's what makes the bond so so excited. That's why people are so excited about the bonds. That's what makes them so appealing. That's what makes the equity so appealing. That's what makes the convertible notes so appealing. You must have volatility. So when you see volatility in MicroStrategy, up or down, know that you are winning. know that you're winning. Okay. I promised some good videos from Michael Saylor, and they are coming right now. They're short ones, but they're sweet. So enjoy them. Michael, take it away.
The real point is Chinese billionaires, Russian billionaires, African billionaires, South American billionaires, every company on the planet would rather have their money in the US, but they can't get it to the US. So where else can I put it? I can put it into the city of Bitcoin. I buy Bitcoin, I sell Africa, I sell Venezuela, I sell Russia, I sell Siberia, I sell China, I buy Bitcoin. Bitcoin is digital capital. Everybody wants it. Everybody knows about it. No one can steal it from you. And what's the use case? Well, the use case is to get rich or stay rich, which is like half of everything. The great irony is people can't figure out what it's good for. It's like for the last 10,000 years, people have been trying to figure out how to get money and keep it. What it's good for is the wealth that allows you to power your family, your country, your company.
If you were advising the administration, as far as I know you are, there's a tension between, so Trump's threatening the BRIC nations, saying, if you de-dollarize and the dollar is no longer the default currency, I'm going to raise tariffs, because there's an advantage to being the reserve currency. We control 58% of reserves are in the dollar. We get to see flows. We get to have more teeth in our sanctions. And if Bitcoin goes to $1 million, $21 trillion asset class, it's hard for me to see how it wouldn't at least bring reserve currency percentage from the dollar way down. How would you be advising the government to think about the advantages of dollar as reserve currency versus Bitcoin increasing in value and subsequently playing a larger role in perhaps replacing the dollar as a reserve currency?
There's some simple, straightforward things that are good for the United States and probably good for the world too. First of all, just to observe that money decomposes into currency and capital. Currency is the medium of exchange that we use to price everything in the world. The US dollar is definitely the reserve currency. The US dollar is also used as reserve capital, but in the form of treasury bills. Bitcoin is capital, Bitcoin is not currency. Gold has been used as capital. It's not currency anymore. The very simple thing that the US ought to do is they ought to sell the gold and buy Bitcoin with it and buy 20% of the Bitcoin network. It's very simple. Just swap the gold for Bitcoin. If anybody actually swaps out their treasury bills for Bitcoin, then the US is going to own it all. It's kind of like just getting Alaska or the Louisiana Purchase for free. They could pretty much have 20% of the network for free overnight just with a swap. They could even print the money. I mean, they could buy it for next to nothing. The only alternative to the treasury bill for anybody is Bitcoin. And so just do that, and Bitcoin becomes the world reserve capital network, and the US will own both sides of the equation. They'll own the currency and the capital. What I'm saying is every company in the world, operating companies, public companies, they're actually running without any assets, without any capital. 90 to 95% of the company's market cap is just forward expectations that are subject to crash anytime. So buying Bitcoin de-risks that. If we come back to the Microsoft example that I laid out in my presentation to the board of Microsoft.
So how was that? Was that really a 3-minute presentation?
You're gonna let me finish? Let me finish.
Okay.
You keep interrupting me, and so I can't make my point, and then you're just confusing everybody. And I want to answer the question, because you asked the question. If you don't let me answer the question, people on the stream won't understand why I said what I said. Bitcoin is emerging as the world's reserve capital network. People are realizing that Bitcoin is better than real estate. It's better than stocks. There's not a single company or real estate property that you would rather own for the long term than Bitcoin. So the very simple idea is buy 20 or 25% of the Bitcoin network on behalf of the US government, catalyze the development of that world reserve capital network, and then let all the Chinese and the Russians and the foreigners sell all their other assets and buy Bitcoin, and then the money flows into the United States. If you want to put a great twist on it, dump your gold, sell all the US gold, buy Bitcoin, then the trade is free because you could buy 5 million Bitcoin for the cost of the gold. You will demonetize the entire gold asset class, and our enemies hold gold in their banks, so their assets would go to zero. our assets would go to $100 trillion, and we would control the world's reserve capital network as well as the world's reserve currency network.
And there you have it, my friends. I really, really hope you enjoyed this video today. It's a Sunday, so it's a slow news day, but I think I still brought you a lot of good news. I think I still brought you a lot of good things to think about. I would, again, love if you are still kind of trying to understand this ATM, this at the market, this accretive versus dilutive, what Bitcoin yield exactly means and how it benefits you as a shareholder. Put in the comments below. Let me know that you hate it, that you love it, that you get it, that you don't get it, that you're starting to understand it, that you're still confused by it. Anything, just put it in the comments below. I use those comments to really focus the future focal points of these conversations that we're having right now, because I need to know what you're struggling with, what questions you have, what you love, what you hate. It's going to make this show better with your help. If you look at my past video that has almost 100 comments, maybe over that by now, I replied to every single comment, even the haters, by the way. There's a couple of haters that jump in there, and I respond to them with love and a little sympathy, to be honest, but always love. And I love the comments. I respond to every single one. I'm working for you on a Sunday. If that's worth anything to you, hit the subscribe button, because I'm going to keep getting better. These shows are going to keep getting better, more valuable. I'm bringing this to you, but it's not financial advice. Consult a financial advisor before making any financial decisions. And please remember, there is no second best.